You and I were both in that place at one time. We were like, fuck, I don't like the position I'm in. I want more. I want something more. But this idea of, but I'm going to try and enjoy it. But I got to tell you, it wasn't, and I want to know about you too, like earlier on in my career, I felt like it's the grind that we love and sink our teeth into and just fucking go and get after it. But I wasn't having fun.
Yeah.
But man, that time when it switched in my mind, like, oh, wait, like exactly what you're saying. Let me enjoy this now. Because I've worked hard to get here, wherever this thing is, just like everybody else. But this idea, like, let's have fun while we're doing it along the way. And you're right. It has that butterfly effect. It affects other people and it attracts other people. Before you know it, everybody's vibrating at this great place with enthusiasm and excitement and fun.
I realized when I was young, I got a development deal for Disney when I was, I think I was 25, 26. And I got this development deal, and all of a sudden they gave me like, I think it was like $100,000. And I had money in the bank. I was like, this is crazy. Because I felt
how old were you at that? So I
was like 26, I think, and it was a development deal for a television show, and all of a sudden I had money. Like my whole life I was poor, and my whole life I was like wondering how I was gonna. When I was on my own, and it was like how am I paying the bills? How am I eating? You know, I remember like taking like a loose jar of change and counting it all out so I could go to Subway and get a sandwich. You know, like that kind of shit.
You don't forget that kind
of
shit.
You don't forget that kind of shit. But then the moment I got that check, I remember feeling light.
Yeah.
Like weight had been lifted off me. Like now I didn't have to worry about my rent. Now I didn't have to worry about food. And I remember thinking immediately, oh, this is the key. You just got to not get to a place where you're not worried about your bills. If that means like spend less money, if that means like live a more prudent lifestyle, whatever you have to do. But get to that place where you're not worried about bills, because that shit hanging over your head causes stress that fucking ruins lives. It ruins people.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, okay, now the most important thing is fucking keep going.
Yeah.
Like make sure you don't lose any ground here and keep going, because now you know what it's like to be successful. Continue that. Do whatever the fuck you have to do, whatever work you have to put in to continue that.
Yeah.
And then when I got to a place where I felt like I have enough money that I feel really secure, then I started to learn how to be happy. But in the beginning, it was just drive. It was just all go.
Yeah.
And it was just very selfish thinking. You know, I'm just thinking only on what I'm trying to do.
But that's all we know. But especially if you grow up broke, and it's the thing that you make up your mind, I feel, and it's the same thing that happened to me. I made up my mind, like, I'm broke today, but one day I'm never going to be broke, and I will never fucking go back to being broke. At least I'm going to do all I can not to be broke. So when you have that mentality, you have the blinders on.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, this is the way you're thinking. This is until I think we get a little older and we achieve the success, we understand, then it starts to go like this a little bit. I got to ask you something. I heard this, and I always wanted to confirm it with you. You started early with martial arts.
Yeah.
Right? And you said there was this great quote, and it was something like, it was martial arts, I think, that gave you the confidence to know that, oh, wait, I'm not going to be broke one day, or something like that. Is that right?
Yeah. Martial arts was the first thing that I realized, like, oh, I'm not a loser. Because I felt like I moved a lot when I was a kid. We moved from New Jersey to San Francisco when I was 7, lived in San Francisco till I was 11, moved to Florida from 11 to 13, Boston from 13 to 24. So it was always moving.
I lived in 10 states by the time I was 13.
Yeah.
Too. Why were you guys moving around?
Well, my stepdad went to school in Florida. Well, we moved to San Francisco just to like experience something different and just get away from New Jersey. Moved there, and then my stepdad went to school in Florida. And when we went to school in Florida, we had to go to the University of Florida at Gainesville, so we were there for 3 years. And then when we moved to Boston, he was going to the Boston Architectural Center. So we moved there so he could finish it and get his architectural degree. So we were just always going where we had to go. And when we did that, I would have to make a whole new set of friends. And so it was this thing about being insecure and young, and life is kind of fucked up and chaotic, and you're meeting these new people, and kids are fucking cruel. And I always was insecure because we were always moving around a lot, and my life was kind of chaotic. My family life was chaotic, and I just felt like a loser. I always felt like I just had to hide from people. I was like socially nervous around people. And I just felt like there were certain people that were winners in life, and I was not that. I was a loser. And then I started doing martial arts, and I got really good at it.
Yeah.
Like I was obsessed, and I got really good at it really quickly. And I realized, like, oh, I'm not a loser. Like, I just have to find a thing, and fucking really get after it in a way that I know some people that have had an easy life, they're not going to pursue it like it's going to save them. And I was pursuing it like this is going to save me. Because I knew as I kept getting better, I started getting this feeling like, oh, I'm good at something. Like, I'm good at something dangerous. And then I got really good at it. And then I started winning tournaments and competing and traveling all the road. And so my whole life from 15 to 21 was just traveling around competing. That's all I did. I was kind of... It's kind of like socially fucked up because I wasn't hanging out with many kids my age. I wasn't really partying. I wasn't doing...
You're training.
I was just training.
Competing. Yeah.
Training, competing, and teaching. I was teaching at Boston University when I was 19 years old.
Wow.
I was teaching an accredited course on Taekwondo. It was like pass, fail, A, but it counted towards your GPA. So I tell all the students, I'd say, listen, show up, you get an A. That's all you have to do. Show up and try, you get an A. You don't have to be awesome at it. I just want you to just show up and do your best, and you get an A. It's that simple.
Yeah.
And so they knew that counted towards their GPA. So I had this big fucking class.
Yeah.
And it was great. And I did that for a couple of years. And then when I started doing stand-up, first of all, I started kickboxing. And when I started kickboxing, that's when I started getting like brain damage. And I was realizing I was getting brain damage. Like, we were sparring hard.
Oh, for sure. Like for real, you were.
Yeah, legit.
You're getting dinged up. And
I was like laying in bed with headaches after sparring. And, and there was no money in it. And I was like, what am I doing? Like, I'm 21. What am I doing with my life? Like, I can't keep doing this. And I had already started doing open mics. So I'd already started doing stand-up comedy, but I was kind of like just dabbling in it. I thought I could do that too, but I still had these competition aspirations. And then the brain damage thing was scary because I knew quite a few people around me that from the time I was 16 till the time I was 21, I saw them deteriorate, like noticeably